Okay, wow. Oh, there is somebody already here. Wow. Thank you. This is the Collapse Experiment. I've done one of these live things in probably over a year. Let me know if you can hear me. I can always adjust the gain on here. And I lost you. Oh, and you're back. I don't know. I might have a bad connection. I will admit that. I don't have the best connection here living out in the middle of nowhere because that is it's through radio waves. They don't even have uh, fiber optics out here, so I'm not surprised. I had to start this all over again because for some reason, a few months ago, I was doing videos using OBS. And at some point, I was trying to figure out how to do live streams using OBS and YouTube. And apparently, um, like the default on here now. So once I moved back and forth out of things, it reset to that, which was a huge pain. And yeah, so I got that figured out. But unfortunately, the first link doesn't work anymore, which is irritating. Blake's Pipes. Yes, dude. Okay. You've always have the best comments. Aren't you in the UK? Like, isn't this a little late for you, sir? It's working now. Yes. Okay. So we got the audio, we've got the screen. Have most of the battles have already been won. We got two people in here now. Oh, Virginia. Man, who was I thinking was in the UK? Okay, yeah, Virginia. Now, are things crazy down in Virginia these days, or is it like mellowing out because offices are changing, or is it just always the same there? Because Michigan, it's freaking chaos here. Chillax. I'm just saying hello, late for me, just finishing a bowl. Ireland for me. Ireland. Good Lord. The internet is awesome. I can't believe like some of the people that are actually following this channel and watching the videos and giving me feedback. The feedback's been awesome, by the way. The topics I've been covering are personal to say the least, but at the same time, a lot of other people out there seem to be connecting with some of the stuff that I've been discussing, and that's pretty awesome. So yeah, chillax, Ireland. What? Let's see here. Finishing a bowl. What are you smoking in your bowl there, buddy? Two pipes in chat. I'm just curious, like, what is the common pipe tobacco of choice when it comes to Ireland? Because over here, we're thinking it's man. What was there's a couple of Irish blends. Was it like Irish cream or C&D Burley? Nice. Cornell and Deal, number 3. Is that like oh man, what is it? Haunted Bookshop? Is it close to that, or is it like own thing? Because I use Burley blends. I did like the Burley blends. Trying to think of what's there was one that I used to take out when I went hunting. It was probably why I never got a deer, by the way. Vintage uh, Burley series. Nice. Got a bit of dark fired Kentucky in it. Okay, so you got some of that smoky flavor going on. It smells like a campfire. Actually, dark fire Kentucky has like a creamy taste. You don't smoke a pipe anymore. I do, not on the channel. So that's where that has gone. Like I still have all my pipes. I still have probably enough pipe tobacco to last me the rest of my life because, if you remember man, when was that? It was before 2020. It was like all the regulations were going in, and we are losing a bunch of companies, and certain blends weren't allowed to be made anymore. It's okay. Haunted Bookshop is just as good. That's fair enough. Yeah, I miss Matches. Matches was always smoking Haunted Bookshop. And then I was always wanting to go to a bookshop. I don't know. There's something about the name. And I read the book. I read the book that was named after, which ended up being like a murder mystery. It kind of surprised me. And then I was coming across a bunch of other books by the same author that, until he was smoking that and he mentioned that it was named after, I forget the name of the author. But then all of a sudden I'm coming across all these other books that the guy wrote. This going down these rabbit holes of like unwanted books, essentially. Okay, so it looks like we've got 3 people in here. This is an open question and answer session. If there's any questions that you feel like asking, whether it's about pipes, if it's about the fitness stuff I'm doing, if it's about any of the videos that I posted recently. I heard Governor Whitmer let you guys buy seeds. I did some videos on that back in the day. Yes, that is true. Fortunately for me, because I have been, am I allowed to say prepper on here? I've been doing that for, God, I took it, I started taking it seriously. Like I had an interest after 9/11. Then Katrina happened, and it was like, holy crap, we are on our own. And I started getting into that seriously, gardening seriously, home protection, all kinds of stuff, food storage. So I have enough seeds in my seed bank to basically provide a garden that could feed a family for a couple square miles around me if something happened. Like basically I could walk around, hand out a flyer saying if you need such and such items, you can come to this address, which is probably a bad idea now that I think about that. But I've got plenty. Like, yeah, we couldn't buy seeds, we couldn't buy paint. There was a bunch of other weird home furnishing stuff that just we couldn't do. And I remember one day going into Lowe's and I was like, yeah, well, now that I have the time, I should probably do this. And I didn't know that had taken effect. And I walk in and they have caution tape surrounding the aisles where the paint is. And I'm like, I see the paint, it's there. There's people in the building. And they had those stupid arrows on the floor that showed you like where you were supposed to walk. And I'm like, why can't I just go over there and grab a gallon of paint, pay for it, and leave? I don't understand any of this. We also couldn't do anything that had to do with landscaping. Like that was all a no-go. I was just starting to prep, but I am not in an area that will survive long if shit hits the fan. Virginia? Really? Won't survive. I think I might have read that right the first time, or at least I was thinking that. Are you like in a city or like, because rural area, like where I'm at, it is. No, I'm not drinking. This is sparkling water, chi, uh, no sugar, white peach. And unfortunately, the place that I bought this at doesn't exist anymore. So I was able to get it super cheap. And when they were going out, I bought all of it. Military is 5 miles away. You don't trust the military. You don't think they're going to help and bring you MREs and help you survive. Also live on sand. You can fix that. That's not all that bad. Like there's actually quite a few crops you can grow in sandy soil. Um, Plus, the sandy soil is good because of the drainage, so you don't have to worry about roots being waterlogged. I would do some research on that. If you're on your own property, what I do, I make my own compost. Any yard waste, grass clippings, broken tree branches, scraps, everything gets thrown in there. And I made my system out of pallets. I rotate it by the end of fall, I try to make sure that all four of them are fully loaded with stuff to break down. Winter doesn't do much, but one of them would have been broken down quite a bit during the last summer. So once spring hits, that's the one that I start on, and I start shifting the rest of the stuff over. And that's I don't buy any topsoil, fertilizer. I don't buy any of that stuff. I just get humus as I can out of the compost. I throw that on top of the garden I already have going, and that fertilizes everything. I can fish, live on Chesapeake Bay. My backyard is water. Oh, hmm. Hydroponics, complicated. Might have to dish out some money. Bug out plan. You might want to have a bug out plan. I mean, if you're on Chesapeake Bay, so I mean, it wouldn't be too hard to have a setup where you've got like a small enough boat or something, cruise out that way, find another place that you can land and set up shop somewhere. But yeah, I'm in the middle of nowhere, and where I live, we've been here. This is our 5th year because we moved from downstate, and everybody's pretty tight around here. It's like a lot of people go to the same churches. They've known each other most of their lives. Not too many people migrate into this area. When they come up here, it is tourists. That's how we ended up finding this place. 2020 hit, and it was like, we love going up north. Why don't we just live there? They're saying it's the end of the world. Why don't we just buy this house, move up there? And if people don't die off like they're saying they're going to, then but that turned out to be a good thing for us. So all right, we're back to 2. So as for other things that's been going on with me, today was chest and back day. I'm already making progress with that. Uh, Definitely number of push-ups going up, chin-ups, pull-ups. Like day 1 of chest and back, I wasn't able to do any chin-ups or pull-ups. And now I'm doing like 3 or 4 per set, which is starting. It's not bad. It's not the 15 to 20 like I was doing several years ago. Night lads, got to go too. Up in the morning, keep her lit. Working the weekend. That sucks. So, yeah, diet's going good. Still not drinking, which wasn't really on my radar. That happened. The whole like not drinking thing. A lot of that had to do with when I was sick. I came down with like God knows what the hell it was. What's your goal for the health and goal with the channel? Overall goal with the channel. Well, I'm gonna be honest. I'd like to be monetized. I really dislike my evening job. I like the people I work with. The company sucks. The benefits are great, but the company sucks. It's just every night I'm thinking like I could be home with my kids, spending time with them so that they're not sitting in front of the TV. Um, so yeah, that's one thing I'd like to do is actually get the channel monetized, have some extra income coming in. We live in this house. Like what you're seeing here is the downstairs. This is basically the basement of this 3-story barn house that we bought. And upstairs, we've got another main floor, which is partially remodeled. We've got a finished bathroom and then a bunch of unfinished stuff. And then the third floor, there's like nothing done up there. It's just literally just the floor, and we use that for storage. And being in a barn house, you can square here, so that doubles our space. And then the third floor is like 2/3 of the other floors. And between working 2 jobs, and of course, I'm expected to be the one doing all of this, it's just not happening. So extra income coming in would be good. Having time off, I mean, if I could make the same or more doing this than doing what I'm doing now, it'd be a game changer. So I drive front end loader now. Best job ever. Never talk to anybody and listen to podcasts all day. There were days where I was listening to podcasts all the time, and it got to the point where like I ran out of podcasts to listen to. So I don't know. You've got to have like really eclectic taste to be able to do that all day. Like I had to switch back to audiobooks for a while, but then some of the books I picked, I got a third of the way through 1Q84 and I was like not enjoying one of the characters. The stories were just really long and dragged out. I To this day I don't understand why he wrote that book as like 3 books initially and then they published it as one. I don't understand why is it 1,000 pages? I don't know. But I got pretty far in that and had to give that up. I tried a couple of other books. Recently I was listening to Becoming Batman, which sounds like a cool book, right? You think it's going to be a guidebook as to like how you can try to become Batman, but instead it's basically a biology, neuroscience uh book on anatomy. Like it's all these things. It tries to integrate what you would need to become Batman without telling you what you need to become Batman. And it's I've tried reading that a couple times. I've got an original hardcover print of that when it came out. It just came out on audiobook, I think last year, which is kind of surprising because the book's over a decade old. And no, that was kind of sad. I thought it was going to be something totally different, and it was not. As for goals for health, I'd like to add some muscle mass. I really got into weightlifting and bodybuilding when I was in high school. Came and went in my 20s. When the ex-wife left, I went head first into that because I definitely needed something to put my energy towards and keep my mind off of like shit that was happening there. Ended up getting a little bigger than I thought I was going to, which takes a lot of money because that's a lot of food. You're eating all the time. You're hungry all the time. I'm 5'9" and I got up to 210 pounds, somewhere between 5% body fat. And yeah, I was eating all the time. And it got to I can't afford this. Wish you luck with income on YouTube. As I have seen and heard, 100 plus 100K subs can bring an income of 30K a year, which is tough as you will have costs. Depends on what kind of channel you do. So I don't know. There's a guy on here that I've been watching, Raymond, if you're familiar with his channel, it's fairly new. And he was able to get monetized within 3 months of starting his channel. He does a video every morning. His main shtick is that he hasn't been on a date in 8 years, which means he also hasn't been intimate with anyone in 8 years. And I think last month, because he's very open about his income and everything from it, he's only got 4,000 subscribers, and he pulled in like 1,200 last month. So I don't know. It really depends, I guess, because he's been doing these live feeds every night. He puts out a video every morning, so he's definitely doing something a little different. He's not having to put as much time into it as a lot of these other channels. You watch some of these channels where they're only putting out 1 or 2 videos a week. There's a lot of editing. They've got crews. It gets pretty crazy. But I think if you keep it simple and you're still giving content that people want to listen to or watch, I think it's a little different if you kind of treat it like storytelling or something educational, right? So I think every channel is different, and depending on what the income would fluctuate at depends on how you do it. I know there's some channels that like the quartering where he's like, I employ 12 people. I'm like, I see you at your desk. You're by yourself. Like, how do you have 12 people? I don't understand this. Chris Angel, dude, has some good comments on my videos as well. I'm listening to Bible Talk Now, the millennial reign theory. I'm not familiar with that. Revelation happened already. Oh, Revelation already happened? Is that what they're saying now? That's a new one. Is it like the trumpet videos that they're doing on YouTube where there's that weird sound coming from the sky? Because those like come and go. I've noticed. There's like a couple years ago they were saying this was happening, and then recently they were saying it was happening again. Blake's Pipes. I have 3 personal friends that have 25K subs, and it brings them 600 a month. I mean, 600 is more than I'm getting by not, right? So, yeah, I don't know what Raymond is doing different. And I don't know what these channels do. I mean, are they doing videos that are constantly being like demonetized? I don't know. I don't know how the math works out there, but I'm just going by what he was showing on his channel. Like I said, he only had 4,000 subscriptions, and yet he was pulling in 1,200 in a month. And he was talking about, this could be holiday money, it could be this or that. And he was admitting that, January could end up being like a really low month for him. So I won't know until stuff happens, if it happens. I'm surprised I've gotten this far, honestly, because every time I've tried building up the channel and getting some momentum going, like a week or 2 into it, I'm getting a strike for something. And then it's like 3 or 6 months before you can even like apply again if I don't have another strike. So timing and chance. Welcome to the live feed. I'm 6'5", 225 pounds, lean. Need to bulk up, but I don't eat enough. Living off grid, just too busy burning calories. I mean, there is something to be said about being lean, um, especially if you're 6'5". Because I know the taller that you are, the more strain on the heart that it is. Um, but I think Arnold was like 6'2" or 6'3", and when he was competing, in bodybuilding, he was at like 225. So it is harder to bulk up too if you're taller. The muscles actually have to work more. They don't have as much leverage as somebody who's shorter. Like if you're a short dude and you've got like short arms, short legs, I I've women that they were like 5'2" and they max out the leg press machine. And then these 6 foot guys try doing what they're doing and they can't. Like so there's a lot to be said about different body types. The only thing I would suggest, I mean, if you're living off grid, I'm sure you could order stuff. Like if you're lacking calories, I've been catching deals on Amazon for like whey protein shakes. Um, what I've been to make sure I get the protein that I need throughout the day is I start the day with one shake. I take one after my workout, and that's the one where I'm adding like cellulose peptides, raw cocoa powder, the protein shake, and then I'll add like a banana or an avocado or something like that. And the cool thing about adding avocado, it makes it taste like ice cream without the headache if you're chugging it. Um, Chris Angel, Revelation 20, chapter 20, verse 3, Satan is let out for one more little season. Is this referring to somebody coming in the office? I'm curious. Is this what you're speaking of? Because if that's the case, I'm gonna be like really sad for who I voted for. But I don't know. Is it referring to Biden? Because things got really bad when he was in office. 6'5", that is tall. Tall brother. I'm only 5'11" and a half. All these tall. I'm 5'9". I hit 48 years old and started my journey of shrinking. Oh no, I'm 3 years away from starting to shrink. Hey, just subbed your channel, man. I really like your style of videos and take on the current clown world we're all suffering through. I'm curious, what style videos are you referring to? Because I've been covering like all kinds of stuff lately, whether it's like the workplace stuff, whether it's like the personal home life stuff, the dating stuff. I was 6 foot and lost half in 4 years. Wait till you get a girl in here. Not in here. I'm not sure what Chris is referring to. The first vid I saw, it was of one where you talked about people lying to get into their job, specifically the hospital job. Yes. Oh my God, that pissed me off so bad. It was like every time I turned around, it was just another lying asshole, like getting what they want. And here I am, like, I remember applying for a job at the hospital and I was stupid and I was honest. And of course, being honest, I didn't say anything that they were wanting to hear. And that seems to be the key with these interviews. But then one thing I didn't talk about was when I moved up here and I was looking for a job, there's one that came up at a high school. I was totally qualified. I had the years of experience they're looking for. I knew how to do all the stuff that they're looking for me to do. It was basically I could come in, learn the area, and do the maintenance that they were asking. So I interviewed for this job, and the guy who runs the high school is from Kalamazoo. So it was like, okay, this is kind of cool. And he was asking how things have changed and all this other stuff. Then there's like the other guy that was head of the shift that I would have been working. He's sitting there. He seemed to be liking me. There was the question of like why we moved up here. And this was like 2021 I was interviewing. So we had been up here like maybe a year, maybe less than a year. And he was just very curious, like why we moved. And it's like, there's a pandemic. The cops don't show up when you call them. The city is getting run into the ground. Like there's lots of reasons. Like we always vacation up here. Like why not? And So the interview went really well. At least I thought so. And then I'm waiting a couple days. I don't hear anything. And I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And finally, like 5 or 6 days goes by, and I'm like, I need to start calling people because I thought I had the job. I, I I figured I might have been like the most qualified for it. So I called the guy that was the head of the shift that I would have been working. I had his number. And he was like, "Oh, well, the director, he said that you interviewed too well." And I was like, "I know my stuff. Like, uh, I'm just answering the questions. I don't have to if I'm honest and I'm truthful, I don't have to think about the answer because it's just gonna like it didn't make any sense." And then they were like, he was also concerned about like you moving abruptly in 2020. And I was like, what the hell does that mean? So they end up hiring this other guy. And then I'm guessing things didn't work out with that dude because like 6 months later, I get a call from the same dude that I talked to that told me I didn't get the job. And he was like, "Hey, this position's opening up, and we already know that you'd be a really good fit for it." I'm like, "Oh, so you hired the wrong guy. Okay." And yeah, I never applied for it. I was like, this just I don't know. It was I had a feeling I was going to be putting myself in a bad situation with possibly some shady coworkers. Okay, so what else we got going on in the chat here? In the chat, girls make everything weird. Yeah, I don't think we have to worry about that because I think 3% of my audience last time I checked was women. I found out companies like it when you get fired over quitting. What? Is it because they're just afraid you're gonna like leave with no notice or yeah, that's odd. I was always told the opposite. Like getting fired was kind of a death sentence for finding a new job somewhere else. That one is weird. What's the best default reason to give for leaving a job? Ah, okay. So I don't know technically what the best one would be, but what I've used in the past is no room for advancement. Um, man, what was some of the other? Well, when I got my job at the library, I told them that it would be a better fit. The one job I was doing before that, I was moving furniture. It was 1 or 2 days a week. Really didn't have the hours, so it was really more of like looking for stability, set hours, possibility of advancement, um, which that was what the library was offering. So in reality, it ended up being a good thing because I left the furniture moving job and with at my other job, my evening job, they got their hours cut. And I was like, hey, if you're looking for something, gosh, is it reconnecting? Okay. Just got a notification that it was losing connection. So anyways, I ended up suggesting him, like, hey, go apply over there. I'm pretty sure they might still have that position open. And he's been working there ever since. So it actually worked out pretty well. Family issues. Which family issues? What is it you want to talk about? Because I've got shit going on right now that I'm probably gonna end up talking about in future videos. And a lot of people don't watch the live feeds after they're no longer live. Like they still get posts. People can watch them later. Um, but yeah, family issues. I, I don't understand. Like toxic people must have like a radar. Seriously, you start doing stuff. Right. You start improving yourself. Things start going better for you. And they just come out of the flipping woodwork like, gotta screw things up now. You're bored. Oh, he's got good things going on again. Jobs prefer if you quit so they don't have to pay unemployment. Well, that's the place that you're leaving. But I think they're referring to like people hiring new people. Maybe it's a desperation, like they know they can lowball you on what they're going to pay you. Uh, that could be what that's about. If they're like, we'd like it more if you were fired from your previous position because desperate college graduates with a lot of student loan debt. They like hiring them. They stick around because bills to pay. He was answering my question, but do tell. Yeah. Narcissist looking for uh, empathetic people, something worth taking. They're not going to find any empathy with me. Like between growing up where I grew up and living in a ghetto for 15 years with my old house that I sold, um, I learned how to not put up with people's shit. And of course, narcissists and people that are seeking that validation and that attention by messing things up for you, they don't like it when you don't put up with their shit. Family issues is a good reason for leaving. If you're working in a situation like that, yeah, leaves it personal and still able to use as reference. Yep. No, that's probably that might be like the perfect answer right there. It doesn't even have to be true. I mean, if you saw that video about people lying to get into their positions and nobody giving a shit, there you go. It's because you're a chosen one. People's demons are drawn to you. Ugh. Uh, can I just not be chosen? Is that an option? Is this like one of those hero quest things? Like I'm destined to be Luke Skywalker, but I really don't want to be the Mark Hamill right now because what the hell happened to that guy? So recently, no, I'll move back a little bit. My mom sent me a letter months ago, and she, ever since my oldest daughter was born, she has been hell bent that my stepdad, who is a sadistic psycho pervert. I mean, is this a classification? Sounds accurate. That he should be able to see his grandkids, and it's like we let you come by to see your grandkids. Like you're my mom. He's not blood related. I don't trust him. And her response is, he's not a pedophile. No, he's just every other sick thing in the book. And I don't know that for sure. I'm just going to be honest. I think there was a time where he used to claim, and this was just before I moved out of the house. He kept making these comments about how he was bisexual. And my mom would just like brush it off like he's just joking. And I'm like, I don't think he's joking. I think personally, he's probably trisexual. Like he would try anything if he thought it would get his rocks off. Horses, you name it. Like I don't think there's really a limit with this guy as to the things that he would do. So she sent me this letter, and she does this like every 6 months. She tries to like weasel her way in to get him in. And I open this letter, and I already know it's just going to be a bunch of shit I don't need to hear. And all I read is, I don't like that you, I don't like that. And it was this list of things she didn't like about me. And I just ended up folding it up and throwing it in the trash. I was like, nope, not dealing with that. She needs to keep her shit to herself. So then Yeah, she recently, and thankfully my wife said something about it because when I get the mail's already here. So my wife knows that I get the mail. I pull up to the mailbox, I grab it, I come into the house. And she was like, have we gotten anything from your mom lately? And I was like, no. She's like, oh, well, she sent something a few days ago and she keeps asking if we got it already. And I'm like, is it presents? Like, what is it? And she's like, she's sending you a letter, but she's addressing it to me and she wants me to read it first to make sure she didn't say anything that should make you upset. Blah, 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 blah. Sure as shit, like a week later, this thing arrives and I open it up. I start glancing through it because I'm like, what kind of shit is she saying in here that she wants her to read first? Like, what type of situation is she putting me in? And it was just the regular bullshit. It was. And I skimmed through it. I didn't read it. And then I handed it off to her and I was like, well, it arrived. And she's like, you opened it? And I'm like, it's not the first time somebody mailed something to somebody I'm with to ruin my life, which is a whole nother story. And yeah, she had stuff in there like and some of it I think was purposely meant to put some friction between me and my wife because one thing that she brought up was when your mom had a stroke, she said that you didn't visit her in the hospital and you didn't call her and you didn't check on her at all. And I'm like, me and my ex-wife showed up at the hospital when we found out, and she ambushed us with two of her classmates because she was taking classes to keep her job at the hospital because she didn't have certain certifications. And these two early 20 something bitches, I still remember what they looked like. One of them had brown hair and glasses and it was in a ponytail and it was just really snippety about how like, yeah, the ungrateful son that doesn't call his mother and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I'm right here. Like, I'm here to make sure you're okay. And this is the situation you put me in. And so we just turned around and walked out. And no, I didn't check on her after that. It was clear like that was not making sure she was okay was not the point of me being there. It was that she could basically give me shit and it was in a place in a situation where I really couldn't do anything about it. So I just left. And God, yeah. So I did that to my wife, and then there was a couple of other things that were in there that were goofy. Like when I was in third grade was when she finally told me that my stepdad wasn't my real dad because they were planning on getting married, and I'm learning that she got pregnant in high school, and I had to see a picture of my dad from the senior yearbook. Didn't know anything about him. It was just, and she wrote in the letter, like, I asked you before we got married if you wanted so and so to adopt you. And my first comment when my wife brought this up was kids can't consent. Like that's not a thing. I have no say in the matter. And it had nothing to do with whether or not I wanted him to be my father figure, which is the only thing I knew anyways. And it's just the whole situation. It just keeps going on and on. And it's like, I don't understand why she's not happy just seeing her grandkids because we could totally make sure that doesn't happen. But no, it's this constant bat. Like she's always put this guy over everyone, her own parents, her sisters, a lot of her sisters she doesn't have any contact with because of things he did to them or attempted to do to them. And she just always sides with this dude. And I've never run into anybody that has ever worked with him or knew him from something that – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – – Back to the comments. He's just joking. Yeah, that's completely laughable. Hate to see that guy. Oh my God. I don't know about drug use. I know that he used to smoke a lot of weed back in the day. I know that for sure. He was a chain smoker, um, beer on and off, not really big drinker, but like during the summer, it'd be like really cheap beer out in the heat. Um, yeah, I don't want to imagine him on something like meth. That would be on the upside. He's likely to get shot by the cops. Like I could see that happening. Man, yeah. Really, it's just yeah, chain smoker, and he smoked Merritts. And I never knew this. He smoked Merit cigarettes. It wasn't Marlboro. It wasn't anything like that. And somebody like years later, um, that came up, and they said, "Isn't that what the swingers smoke?" Oh god, yeah, accurate. So, what else do we have? Wait, this is your stepfather is claiming to be bi. That's podcast value. That will go viral. Yeah. Yeah, not viral in the way I probably want because it's a bad example of being that. I mean, you can only talk about that in a positive light, right? Oh God. I've been for some reason there's all these clips online of like Destiny uh talking about his, and this was before his wife left him, and he's like, "Yeah, sometimes I'm over at a guy's house and she knows that I'm over there. And why does his jaw move like this? This is so annoying. How does he do that?" He looks like a cow eating while he's talking. But yeah, there's nothing good that comes from that. I don't understand it. I don't understand like where the society grasping onto these weird uh they used to be obscure sexual practices, right? Rarely came across it. Now it's just everywhere. I'm sure there's a story there somewhere. There's a lot of stories everywhere. Noticed your ring tattoo. Yep. Yeah. God. Got this on my 5-year anniversary with my ex. Yeah. I have two tattoos. I have one on my shoulder here, which is the Batman emblem, and I have this one. 50% of my tattoos I regret, which is why I won't get any more because I don't want it to be 2/3 of my tattoos. And there's a story with this one as well. So on our 5-year anniversary, my ex-wife and I, we had decided we're going to go to Gatlinburg, second honeymoon, do all the things we wish we would have done on the first trip, because when you're going there for the first time, there's the tourist traps you don't know to stay away from, and there's the really cool things you wish you would have spent more time doing. So that's what we did. But before we left, we went to a tattoo shop, and she didn't get a band. She got like this really cool like Art Nouveau style type design on hers. I wanted something more masculine, and we got that just before we went on our road trip. And God, after we got back, year 5 was not a good year. That was when she started to really like doubt everything. She started making comments about I never really wanted to be married. And I would come back with, "So why did you say yes when I proposed? And why did you go through with it if this isn't something that you wanted?" I don't know, I just didn't want to hurt your feelings. I'm like, that is the biggest bullshit excuse I've ever heard. This is insane. And I knew it was only a matter of time at that point, right? There were Chad sniffing around. Speaking of that letter, where I commented that not the first time somebody tried ruining my life, her ex-boyfriend. So we had been married 5 years, and so we were together for 7 years at that point. And her boyfriend before we met, older guy, he worked for Pfizer. I guess it's Pfizer now. So it could have been Pharmacia. I don't remember. He worked there for years. He had all this money in the bank. He had cool house, Basically, he single, no kids, and they dated for I don't know how long. But then they broke up and we met, got married. One Christmas, 7 years later, he sends her this Christmas card to her parents' house. And inside the Christmas card is basically this love letter of he wished he would have made things work with her, blah, blah, blah. He regrets everything that happened, yada, yada, yada. So when it arrives, her mom finds the card and sets it on the counter. And my wife's brother and sister see it on the counter and they're like, "What is this?" "Well, it's for your sister. It's from her ex-boyfriend." "Well, it's not for me to get in between them." Yeah, it is. She's married and he has no business contacting her. And so they're telling her, like, throw it away. Don't tell her about it. And we go over there. She finds the card. She opens it. She reads it. Bunch of stuff happens after that. And long story short, like 6 months later, we're separated. Few months after that, she's moved in with him. Meanwhile, I'm still making the car payments, the house payments. I'm paying for her insurance. I'm paying for her phone bill. I'm like her car insurance. I don't even have the car. She took the paid off car and I'm still paying the car insurance. Like I was getting fucking pissed. And she's like, "Well, you're always able to pay all this stuff before. Like, why do you need help from me now? You're not living here." This is some OJ type shit happening. I'm paying for all this stuff and we're not the ones doing stuff, right? Like, how does this work? There are just moments where very clearly OJ might have been justified. I'm not saying he was. There's just moments in life where it kind of seems reasonable. Oh man. So yeah, totally. She tried to get her tattoo laser removed and she did like 5 or 6 treatments and couldn't get rid of it. And I never bothered trying. And if there's one thing I noticed, even when you have this, women are not, they don't question it when you say, like, "Oh, it's from my ex-wife." Like, she's like, "Oh, okay." Like, they don't even think, like, is he cheating? Is this like, why does he have that tattoo? Like, is he a crime? Like, they don't even ask that, right? It's weird. Basically, if they want to bone you, they don't care. That's what do we have here? Destiny is on Adderall. Yeah. No, that's I could totally see that. He probably admits to it. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't really watch a lot of his content. There were a few times where he was going back and forth, I think, with Dave Smith, and I was like jumping in there because he was making these like really shitty comments about Dave Smith, and I'm like, I would say something like, "What did?" What did your wife's boyfriend's dick taste like? It was and, I think there's only one time he responded, and it was like, he didn't even say anything. It was just kind of like he was acknowledging that I said something, but it was like, "Oh, that's where you gotta go? That's all you have? You really think that's gonna affect me?" His relationship was over when he agreed to the poly. Yeah. No, Blake's right. Yeah, and it's a relationship. Like, there's no relationship there. There's nothing that they're working on. They're both doing their own thing, and eventually she's gonna find something better. And if you've seen Destiny, most men are a better option. I don't know what the appeal was, the attraction that they had, because his wife was actually really attractive. I don't know how he got that, but I'm not surprised that she, for one, left, and two, that she found something better. Uh, God, just some of the he purposely makes himself look unattractive most of the time. I believe. I think it's done on purpose, and I don't know why. He's just. I think with the Adderall, there's definitely some mental illness going on there too. Open relationships work when they start open. I don't know. I don't know about that. I think it's just waiting to become a shit show. Like, even if it starts at Neil Gaiman, look at Neil Gaiman right now. Him and his wife, who she's what, like a famous singer or something, actress. Uh, he admitted years ago that they were in an open relationship. We're in a polyamorous relationship. Meanwhile, he's sexually assaulting and possibly, allegedly doing the R word to women. Um, he's not a good guy. I think a lot of these people that enter into this, like, for one, they have zero interest in committing to anything. So if you're in an open relationship and you have kids, like, I'm pretty sure Destiny had kids, right? I'm not sure about that. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but like, once kids are involved, there should be nobody else coming in. That is the formula for disaster there, because she brings home some dude, and that dude ends up being some creepy weirdo who does something to your kids. Like, you allowed that. When you didn't put your foot down and say, like, we're not doing this anymore, or never doing it to begin with, like, there shouldn't be that opening for somebody that you're not sure about, you don't really know, and you can't really know these people. Like, how can you? It's like these people that go to swingers parties, like that the FBI agent that beat the shit out of his wife in Kalamazoo, and he was one of the agents that worked on the whole Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping plot. God, of course it was Kalamazoo. Why wouldn't it be Kalamazoo? Alex, if it starts open, it has to stay open, and it's not long-term relationship. That's called forever a friend with benefits. I've known a lot of friends with benefits that, yeah, shit happens and they're no longer just friends because they got a kid together. That changes everything. When I went to rehab, 2 people were there for booze, 50 other people were there for meth. I don't know if there's rehab for meth, honestly. I've seen, God, I've got another story about that. I'm going to finish these comments first before I go back to it. They had to fatten the food there because everyone was skinny. Yeah, because they don't freaking eat for days. What are you saying? Is meth is good for weight loss? I don't know if it's good for anything, actually. Destiny is a beta boy simp. I don't even know if he's a simp. I mean, if he's a simp, it's for other dudes. I'm just being honest there. It's good for highly addictive. It's good for kamikazes because that's what they were taking before they flew into our battleships in World War II. Brutal enough. Hi there. Hello. Welcome to the live feed. It's past your bedtime. time. Just wake up 4 a.m. here. 4 a.m. fight. Who would win? I'm not as Asmongold. Hmm. I don't know. I might have to actually look that up on the phone if I'm going to give any kind of feedback. So, this is local. This is recent. Actually, I don't even think trial started yet. Yeah, they're trial. So, my neighbors. My neighbors are like really good people. The husband, he's lived in the house next door to us since he was a kid. Lives there with his wife and two kids now. But he's got two brothers, and one of them has an addiction. Um, Kind of a really squirrely guy. He collects rocks. He hunts down fallen trees that he will remove with or without permission to sell the firewood. He's got quite a few kids with quite a few ladies. Um, he actually he added a parking spot next to our house and redid the driveway for us as like a side job. And he was suggested to us because the one brother does landscaping, the other one is like an IT guy. So he has access to landscaping material when he needs it, because basically everybody who knew this guy in high school loves the guy, and they try to keep him busy and keep him off of meth, which just never happens. So recently, a few months back, this dude disappeared. And when the cops went over there to check to see if he was in the house or what had happened to him, they kind of looked around. They found this spot in the backyard where there was a bunch of like loose dirt, burnt wood, and what they believed to be human flesh. So they get a warrant, they search, they find parts of the body in the backyard. And when they did a little more digging, the brother, the meth addict, was staying there with a girl who was like 20, and this guy is like, I want to say late 30s, maybe early 40s. It's not uncommon up here. I don't know what it is with older guys getting these like fresh out of high school girls, if it's just the drug addicts or what, but it seems pretty common up here. Uh, so come to find out, yeah, he was staying at this guy's house. Something happened where he ended up murdering the dude, and then they tried to dispose of the body by digging a hole, covering it in firewood, burning it, and then filling in the hole with dirt. And it didn't work. So yeah, meth, a hell of a drug. And apparently, if you take it while going out into Deadstream Swamp, you have a high likelihood of just disappearing, because that's happened. I've done a lot of research on those. There was one couple. Again, it was an older guy, younger girl. Got their truck stuck. Decided to smoke some meth, or however it is they were taking it. Ended up in the middle of the swamp, like the actual boggy swamp area where they froze to death. Hypothermia was the cause of death, and they had meth in their system. Don't know why you would leave the truck. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. Nothing about some of these stories make any sense. And I'm sure, like, when you're high on meth, for doing the dumbest thing might seem like the option. I don't know. It just, if they were trying to find a way out, why wouldn't you just walk the 2-track back? That is something I never understood. Let's see here. Oh, we've got some arguments about who would win in that fight between Destiny and Asmongold. Am I even saying that name right? I don't even know. I'm not sure who that is. I will be up at 4 a.m. That's 6 hours from now. Good morning to you. Tweaker Girl starter kit, rock collection, colored markers, coloring book with every page started. Yep. I see that at the library quite a bit, actually. I'm sure if I went back to my teens, I would have tried meth. I didn't do drugs in my teens. Nothing. Um, I tried the occasional beer when it was offered to me, and that was usually by either family or friends of the family. So, yeah, I wasn't doing any of that. But I would have to do some research on the type of high it is. From my understanding, you just stay awake and you're energetic and you're happy and you just always have to have something to do. I knew a guy that I worked with at one of my jobs, total meth addict, missing all of his back teeth. Like they had all rotted away, super skinny. And he talked about how when he was taking meth regularly, he would just work in his garage on cars for 3 to 4 days straight, 24/7. Well, 24/3, I guess. Um, yeah, day and night working on these cars. He's like, I would make so much money back then. Oh my God. I should, sometimes I think about that. And I just think that like I should really just keep that up. And it's like, do you want to lose all your teeth? Is that what you want to spend that money on? Is getting new teeth? I was going to ask about meth. I think it can be in pill form now. Yeah, it's called Adderall. Adderall is a amphetamine, and that was where the journalist kind of screwed up when Michael Hastings died in that car accident, because toxicology came back and they said, oh, he had amphetamines in his system. Journalists love to take Adderall. They can get their stories in on time. They can work really fast. So when he crashed the car, my guess is that he was probably on Adderall, because when they test for things like meth, it comes out the same, right? If you're on meth, it will read that. If you're on Adderall, it will say you're on meth or amphetamines. Um, there's really no distinction in the test between any Ritalin. Ritalin will test positive as amphetamines. So yeah, um, pill forming. I've heard people taking it rectally, which I don't know why that would be the chosen form. Meth is indistinguishable from Adderall except for dosage and duration. Yeah, see, yeah, that's what I learned doing my research. And everybody was saying, "Oh, Michael Hastings was smoking meth when he crashed his car," and it's like, why are all the TV talking heads just idiots? They don't research anything. Meth in a pill, brand name Desoxin. I am not familiar with that. I don't know if I want to be. I have a friend that he was in the military. He was adventurous when he was a teen. He tried a lot of things. One of his favorites was mushrooms. But when he was in the military, they were at Fort Hood. And they would leave Fort Hood on the weekend. They would go out to Austin, and some of the guys had connections in Austin. And he's telling me about all these stories. And he said that the scariest thing he ever experienced was they would go into town and they would say, like, hey, if we go to this house, we can get some white powder stuff, the magic stuff that Freud liked. We can get that. We can get the green stuff over here. If we want this other thing, we can go over here. He said that the one time he tried meth, it scared the shit out of him, because out of everything that he had done, weeks later, like 6, 7 weeks later, he would sit there and realize, like, wow, I really want to try that again. And it was the only thing that he had ever done where he was craving it afterwards. Like he had done, the nose candy stuff, enjoyed it, I guess. I don't know. He never really told me. But afterwards, he could go the rest of his life not wanting to do it again. If it was there, he probably would, but he's not going to seek it out. Meth, on the other hand, was the one thing where he was just like, holy crap, I tried this thing one time, and 2 months later, I'm thinking I want some more of that. What the hell is this stuff? So when I'm seeing that these people are in rehab for it, I don't know. I don't know if it's one of those things that you can kick. And God, it's to me, it's some scary stuff. It's nothing I would want to mess with. Nothing I would want to meth with. Isn't fentanyl a big time thing in the US now? Yes. That's being brought in through Mexico. The Chinese are supplying the chemicals in order to make it. It's basically artificial heroin, except like 1,000 times stronger. Yeah, that's some bad news. Um, I'm really hoping that the next administration, I have no hopes of like any serious change happening. But the fact that he's talking about going after the cartels, I've been dreaming of somebody doing that forever. Like, why not? Why? Why are we going 3,000 miles away to kick the crap out of some guys? We've got these people on the border that are killing our citizens on US soil by transporting things that they shouldn't be transporting anyway. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, we've got bigger to fry here, and they just don't do it. And the Chinese are the ones that are funding and supplying all of it. So to hell with them too. Fentanyl is the coast. It's everywhere. It's in Michigan. My cousin. Actually, I know two people. Um, my nephew, on my ex-wife's side, he over OD'd on fentanyl. He wasn't even 20. I don't know if he was still in high school or not, but he died really young. And then my cousin, he some of us think that maybe that was like his way out because his brother, my other cousin, had hung himself not even a year before that. So the younger brother self-deleted in the garage, and I know Eric took it really hard, and I was around when things got really sketchy at home when they were in high school. Like, we were pretty good friends in high school, and then we lost touch after that. And I remember Eric before he did drugs. And I know a lot of people are going to say marijuana is not a gateway drug, but it is a gateway to the people who also offer other things if you're curious. And so Eric, short guy, short, like maybe 5 foot. Like, he was the smallest dude. He just would not grow. And in high school, horniest little dude ever. Like, his main goal was, I am here to get laid, and I see all these guys smoking this stuff, and they have all these girls hanging out with them, and I know that they're getting in their pants, and I want to get there too. And so he was like, I'm gonna try this. And I'm like, dude, like, you've got good grades, you read cool books, like, why? He's like, dude, have you seen some of these girls? I'm like, everybody's hot in high school. Wait like 5 years. You're gonna run into them later and be like, shit, what the hell happened? Like, but no, he ended up trying that, and he got really into the scene, and he started trying like the psychedelics and stuff. And he had a girlfriend at the time after his brother died, who was a nurse, and he asked her one day, like, So what is fentanyl like? And this was not long after Prince died, right? And so she thought maybe he was asking about that, but the more he asked about it, she was like, like, don't even try it because there's no saving you from that. And he went ahead and did it anyways, and he was found at the kitchen table, needle still in his arm, and it was way too late. Like, girlfriend came home, and I guess he had already been there a couple hours. It's not like they could have give him was it naloxone or the the nose spray that resuscitates them if they OD. Like, there was nothing that they could do. So that had me going to another funeral. Seems to be the drug problem has gotten out of hand. Yes. Yeah, I would agree with that. To be fair, I went out today and came home thinking I need a drug to dumb myself down to interact with most people. Uh, I just kind of drawn people. It's kind of or I look at them as entertainment. That's another thing you can do. Because there's times where, like, I'm at the supermarket and I'll hear these two women having a conversation about something, and one of them will say something entirely, totally stupid, and I'll just bust laughing and quickly move to another aisle because I want to hear what else they have to say. Have a beer. That's one suggestion. Cheers. Stop drinking with my health going on. Yeah, that was another thing. And I'm not a big drinker, and I know alcoholics say that at Alcoholics Anonymous all the time, but coming home, having a glass of wine, and going to bed. I have noticed, like, even not having that one glass of wine, that I'm getting better sleep. So it's definitely true that alcohol will affect your sleep. It's calories that aren't needed. Never got buzzed on it unless I'm like drinking half a bottle or more. So yeah, cutting that out. And beer, I have like a love-hate relationship with beer. Like, I love porters and I love stouts. And in my opinion, it's hard to find a good one. But it's not something I seek out anymore. And I'm not a fan of the cheaper beers, but I don't want to spend money on the good beers either. Like, I'd rather not spend 15 bucks on a six pack. Um, Atwell's Vanilla Java Porter, all time favorite. And if I had to say wine, it would be Red Blend for, oh shit, what is it called? Why is Catawba coming to mind? It's not even Catawba. That's a local Michigan grape. Man, why am I blanking on that? I can see the bottle too. It was the last bottle of wine I had on New Year's Eve. So yeah, when I think of it, I'll let you know. These pills, I hear they can be sprayed, and the ones in the corner are the killer pills. Wait, I gotta read this again. These pills here can be sprayed, and the ones in the corner are the killer pills. The ones on the corner? I'm guessing that's got to be about meth or fentanyl. It's really bizarre. Love beer, enjoy bourbon too. I had my bourbon days. Yeah. Um, I noticed I had a really hard time getting buzzed or drunk on bourbon. That was one thing I noticed. Like, I would notice it if I stood up. If I'm sitting there and I'm sipping it and I'm doing something, I wouldn't notice the effect. If I stood up, I would notice, like, oh, okay, yeah, it has hit me. but it's like a really clear-headed buzz. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out the word to describe it, because you don't feel drunk, you don't feel buzzed. Uh, Talking clear, like it, bourbon for me. I don't know. I never drank enough to like try to get like shit faced or anything. I had one bad experience with vodka, and I won't touch it again. One really bad experience with vodka. I don't know how anybody drinks that. Let's see here. Bourbon, even shitty beer has become expensive here. Where again is that? Because here it's like PBR and Michelob, Coors. We still have the less than $1 a can beer where I'm at. I don't know. Is it like 8 9? Yeah, $8.99 Keystone Light 15 pack. I mean, that doesn't really sound bad, right? Same here. 24 cans, 12 ounce is $22. Still less than $1 a beer. There you go. Economic drinking. Chris, what state do you live in? Pennsylvania? Probably Utah. It's probably the black market. Northern Wisconsin. Wait, what? Yeah, what is Northern Wisconsin just really like an extension of the UP, or is the UP an extension of Northern Wisconsin? Like how different is it? I'm like really curious. I mean, is it just northern Michigan on the other side of the lake? Um, I'm pretty sure, isn't there like a bunch of bear hunting going on over there too? There was, I'm trying to remember the name of the writer. He did Population 485. I'm pretty sure he's from Wisconsin. Um, but yeah, he talks about being an EMT out in like the middle of nowhere, and how the guys will carry, like during hunting season, they've got their deer rifle, but then they carry a 357 on their chest in case they come across a bear. I have not seen Keystone for years. Wow, man, that used to be like a common staple. It's basically the UP Cougar a couple of months ago. Yeah. I saw a cougar. We were at Grand Marais. We went up there for vacation. This was 2019. And it was late, and we're going back to the Airbnb that we had rented. And we turned this corner, and this is in Grand Marais, small town, like really small population, but they've got like boating and stuff like that going on. There's the one brewery bar there. And then we turned this corner, something crossing the road, and it was not a deer. And it walked just like a cat, and it wasn't a bear. It was tan, and it was pretty damn big. And I remember my wife saying, "What the hell was that?" And I was like, "I'm pretty sure that was like a mountain lion or something." And she's like, "What?" Because we're planning on having a fair outside the house that night. We still did. Nothing happened. Nobody, the cougar didn't snatch the baby or anything. Let's see here. They grow cheese there. Wisconsin just known for, I thought Vermont was known for cheese. Isn't that like their claim to fame, like Vermont cheese? Tiny ass state, but they make a lot of cheese. Yeah. I never really understood like the difference between Wisconsin and Michigan, honestly. Just seems like we should share the lake. Oh, I will say, we do have an ongoing issue where the hospitals in Wisconsin, whoever takes care of their trash will dump their medical trash in the lake and it washes up on the shore over here. Yeah, that's been an issue. Might want to stop that. We don't like it. Yeah, so any other questions? We've been at this for an hour and a half. I'm pretty sure I didn't miss anything question wise. I'm thinking if there's anything I was supposed to really go back to regarding some of these stories I've been telling. Let's see here. Cold here, and the motorcycle season is short. Yeah, my biological father, he's really big into motorcycles. Apparently, he owns like 3 or 4. Last I knew, I haven't heard from him in a couple of years, but I guess you could say that's like a family tradition now at this point because I had to track him down and contact him, and yeah, I was 36 when I finally met him for the first time, and had a lot of questions. Oh, let's see here. Your favorite pipe brand and maker? Oh, I've got a couple. I've got a couple of like really cool pipes. As for favorite pipe, I guess it really depends on mood. I do have some. I don't know if I can reach them or not. Screw it. Let's see. Let's find out. Ugh. And the cool ones are still on the counter, I think. But what do I have going on here? I've got corncob pipe, Cornell and Deal. Where is this? 2019. So this is like 6 years old. Not opened. So we've got that. Let's see here. What other pipes do we have in here?